Hello and welcome to Lutys Chainsaw Mods. I just thought I'd do a quick video to see if I can explain firstly how a expansion chamber works, and then how my short expansion chamber for a chainsaw works. Okay, so first of all, it might be rudimentary, they might be a bit small, but you know, I'm not a drawer. Okay, so we've got this is an expansion chamber. Now this, it's obviously a lot bigger. I've blown this up so you can see it, but this is a standard, or what would have been a standard muffler on a chainsaw. Okay, this is obviously the engine on each side. Okay, so with an expansion chamber, your piston's just coming down, your exhaust port is just opening. It's now in what they call blowdown. Now blowdown means that it's still under massive pressure, combustion gases are still burning, piston is still on its way down, but the exhaust port is just starting to open now. Okay, so now you've got massive pressure, you get blowdown where your exhaust gases come out at a massive pressure, so they become sonic and they zoom out into the expansion chamber. Now if you continue to let that happen and you just had a huge hole here, your exhaust gases would come out, they would just shoot straight out, and behind it you would start to drag out, you'd be dragging out your fuel. Okay, and eventually, I mean, you'd even see a wet exhaust because it'd be dragging out the fuel. It's obviously dragging fuel in from the crankcase into the chamber, but it's also allowing that fuel to go out. So you'll lose power, like you'll gain a higher speed, but you'll lose power. Okay, so the expansion chamber, what it does is, so there's your smoke. Your smoke is coming out, your exhaust gases are coming out, and they as it explodes out at a sonic speed, it's allowed to expand massively, which basically, if this is the correct size chamber for your engine, then it should empty this chamber completely of spent gases. Okay, this is where, when we talk about tuning a expansion chamber, this is what you've got to try to do. You've got to try and get this chamber the same size that will cope with all of your gases only, exhaust gases only, at a really quick speed. So at cutting speed, I don't know, 8,000 RPM cutting speed, maybe a bit higher, I don't know. In which case, if you wanted it to rev higher, you might need a bigger chamber, or you may need a bigger chamber for a larger saw. Like a 50cc saw would need a smaller chamber than a 100cc saw. Okay, so your chamber needs to be matched to the size of your saw. So it holds those gases in there. They're allowed to go out really quickly. Now, to stop your exhaust gases dragging out all your fuel air mix, you've got at the other end, so you've got a diffuser cone this end. Okay, this end you've got a sonic cone which echoes the gases back in. Okay, pressurizes them. What happens is your gases will travel faster than the speed of sound. So your gases will come out, but then right behind it is an echo. The echo hits the sonic cone, and the echo comes back, which causes a pressure, so this is echoing back, okay, which causes a pressure, because this cone is set in such a way that it can echo the sound wave back to your exhaust port. That then creates pressure, which hopefully stops your fuel air mix coming out. Okay, and then the cycle continues. Okay, so a few things you have to consider. This chamber's got to be the right size for your saw. This outlet pipe, that's why on an expansion chamber you'll see they've got a tiny pipe, because it needs to be able to allow the gases out, but it must hold a certain amount of pressure in to help the echo hold back the fuel air mix. I hope I've explained that okay. So that is a standard expansion chamber and how it works. Okay, now my expansion chamber, the short one on the chainsaw that I built, works a bit different. So you've got, with this one, the whole thing is the expansion chamber. Okay, so your gases come out. Let's just draw them on. Your gases come out, they fill up the chamber, and although I've only drawn one outlet here, the silencer I've got on mine has 2 outlets, but it's irrelevant really. So the gases come out. Now that there needs to be a certain size, obviously, to hold a certain amount of pressure in here. Now, because I cannot build, I don't want to be building a very large expansion chamber, what I've done is I've relied on, so this outlet here has to be set really, you could tune it, make it bigger or smaller, to be able to contain enough pressure in here still to allow your gases to get held back slightly. Okay, so you can tune it by making that bigger or smaller. Okay, your outlet, your normal outlet. So that's your chamber bit taken care of, if you like. Okay, so now you've fired, your chamber's filled up, the sound wave goes towards what is here. Look, I built a sonic cone. Okay, so that sonic cone can now pick up the echo and send the echo, as long as you line it up with your exhaust port, it will send an echo straight to your exhaust port and help hold back the gases. Now I know this works for a fact because my original one that I built, I never put an outlet tube here. All I did was put a cone, a sonic cone here. Now when I ran it, it really helped the saw back to about almost half revs, half RPM, but I did try a cut with it and the torque was massive, so it was doing its job, but it was not allowing the motor to rev up properly. It would hold it back to half rev. So I knew it was all due to that echo, because I'd retained the standard outlets on the silencer. I just put a sonic cone in front of the exhaust port. So it does, the sonic cone really does work. Okay. So after a while, I kept thinking about how I could get around this. So if you look here, I've drawn an outlet pipe. Okay, now I set my outlet pipe. It's 13 millimeters wide, the outlet pipe, and it's 60 mil from there to the exhaust port is 60 millimeters. Okay, now I built it like that. It worked. It did improve the power. Okay, now I'm not saying I've got it spot on, because I know I probably haven't, but I did improve the power. Okay, so what I intend to do eventually is build a dyno and build another adjustable expansion chamber, so I'll be able to increase and decrease the outlet to the chamber, and also lengthen and shorten, so bring this closer or further away, this outlet pipe here inside the sonic cone, and experiment with it, and also experiment with different size tubes, okay, to see if I can increase it further. But without a dyno, you're just guessing, you know. But this works on a 58cc CS580, so you've got 60 millimeters between there and there on a 13 mil inside diameter piece of tube, a sonic cone that you just build out of a piece of steel. You've got your muffler completely, take everything out of it so it's completely hollow. Put your sonic cone on and make sure that you line the cone up with your exhaust port, and then bore a hole in the cone and fit your tube of choice in. I set mine, as I said, 60 mil between the exhaust port and the start of the tube. Okay, see, in theory, what's happening here, I think, is that the tube is forming a clear way through the sonic wave here, because obviously the sonic wave is going to be more concentrated around the outsides of this tube. Okay, so it should provide a clear way through there. Okay, that's what I think's happening now. And I know it is holding back the wasted fuel because that saw is dry. The CS580 is dry. The saw I've got with a standard one on, the muffler is always wet, and that's a standard muffler. So I know that this is doing its job. Okay, as I said before, it could be tuned to potentially perform better, but it is making a big difference. Okay, so in theory then, the expansion chamber is allowing the pressure to move out after the exhaust is fired, okay, after the engine's fired. Okay, so it's controlling the pressure inside here, which you can adjust, like I said. And the sonic cone, which I know definitely works, as I explained before, puts an echo back towards your chamber, your exhaust port, sorry, which I know holds it back, because without that outlet pipe, as I said, it does hold it back. So then your outlet pipe is there so that you can allow enough flow for your saw to work properly. Okay, now, like I said, if you're just boring holes in willy-nilly, then all that's going to happen is your exhaust gases are going to flow out really quickly under a sonic speed. They're going to drag out your fuel air mix. Then you're going to be getting your fuel air mix coming out, spilling out. All right, your chamber's going to fill up still from the crankcase. It will fill up. So you're going to get something like that happening, okay, where your fuel, yeah, it's filling your chamber up, but it's allowing it to spew out through your exhaust. Okay, so that's what I did anyway. This is how I built my expansion chamber, and I know it definitely makes a difference. But like I said, I've got plans to make a tuned one so I can actually tune it, slot in different size tubes, make this tube here adjustable so I can make it longer and shorter away from the exhaust port. If I do get it right, at the end of the day, it ain't going to work on every saw. You know, you'll probably find that it might be good for most saws that are, I don't know, 50cc to 60cc or something, which is a similar size to what I've got on this CS580. but it's not going to work on, say, those dimensions will not work on a bigger saw, and they won't work on a saw that you want to rev higher. But if you're revving at the standard kind of RPMs, 12,000-13,000 RPMs, then those dimensions will work on a 58cc saw. So yeah, so and there's I mean, this is the reason why I did it, because I wanted it standard pretty much. And there it is, you know, that's me expansion chamber. Okay, so all I've done is put this outlet tube on afterwards over the top of the original outlet tube. Okay, I put that on afterwards, literally just to direct the gases to the side a little bit, and it does cut the noise down a bit, but I mean, it is noisy. It is noisy, this saw now, but it's got a lovely crackle to it. You know, it really sounds nice and tinny. You know, so I mean, and I think that is the sound you get when you're getting a higher pressure exhaust pulse, which is what the expansion chamber does. It gives you a higher pressure pulse, so you get that ting ting when they're actually revving up. So I know it's working, and the way it feels as well. So you know, you could have a go yourself. And the thing with these is that you know, they look standard, which is what I like. I like to keep my saws usable. I use my saws a lot. So, and it looks standard. It's great. Like, it's not in the way, you know. I mean, expansion chambers are really good. They do work, don't get me wrong, and they're probably easier to tune than this will be. But I don't know. I personally think, you know, like I say, I'm going to get this dyno up and running, and I reckon I could do a better job of tuning this from where it is now, and I'm happy with it now. But I think I could get more power out of it. So I'm going to have a go at that and see how it goes. So anyway, that's it for today, I think. It's gone dark now. I've been out here all afternoon, and enjoyed myself messing about with different things and what have you. So that's it then. Thanks for watching Lutys Chainsaws, Lutys Chainsaw Mods. If I think of anything else that I've done, modifications or whatever, which is what I like doing, but not massive modifications. Like I said, I use all my saws. I do little sort of bits and pieces. So what do you think of me as we're talking about modifications and what have you? This is me still 017, and I put this pipe on. This is just a normal pipe. I just cut a slant on it today. Thought it looked quite cool. Like, done some yeah, done a little bit of cutting with this today. Not a lot, like, because I don't use it that much. It's mostly for limbing. But you know, I did do this morning. I did another YouTube one on that one, on the fitting a Chinese carburetor, adjustable carburetor on it, which you can watch if you want to, if you like this sort of stuff. I do. I look at other people's stuff and I enjoy it and what have you. It's great. I got myself another item for me dyno turned up today, tachometer. You know, so I'm gathering bits and pieces, because you need to measure the RPM so that you can do a conversion for horsepower. So I'm getting there. I've got a lot of parts for it now, and that'll be something I might do later on in the summer, hopefully. So I'll let you go now, again, thanks very much for watching Lutty's Chainsaw Mods. If you want to like or share or whatever, that would be good, I think, you know. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I mean, like I say, I love doing this stuff, and I love watching other people do stuff. So yeah, so thanks very much anyway. Bye.